The biggest mistake I see most runners make is probably the easiest one to fix. So why don't they? Because we're lazy. Warming up to run is boring. You might think it's pointless, or even claim you don't have time. I was you once. Then one day I tried it, and I've never looked back. Because not only do my legs not feel like trash for the first 10 minutes, but it's actually made me faster. And I'll explain why. And despite warm-ups being incredibly boring, you apparently want to see mine in great detail. So I'm gonna take you through it all, but I am only gonna make this video once, okay? So pay attention. If you're new here, hi, I'm Phily. I'm a pro marathon runner for Lululemon, and this warm-up has been with me for the last 3 years. But she's been through some important evolutions along the way. I'm gonna get right into it alongside today's easy runner strides, but first, we've got to drive to the track. And this is a new addition. I've had this foam roller for years, but I have not been using it until recently. So we're heading to the track on a Monday.
What?
That feels really weird. For context, my session days are normally Tuesdays and Fridays, and that is the case this week. But today, I'm adding in my drills and strides that I used to do on a Monday until this injury came up that I'm coming back from now. So it's been 5 or 6 months since I've regularly been doing drills and strides on a Monday, which I do after a short easy run. Now, obviously I could do these just on the street, outside my house, in the park. But today I am showing you my warm-up. So it kind of makes sense to go to the track, and it also means that I can put spikes on, because it tends to be better to wear spikes on the track and not on, like, concrete, you know? The spikes tend to prefer that. And putting spikes on is pretty exciting, because it means I'm getting my legs ready for a track season. And I haven't raced on the track in almost 2 years, which is crazy.
What was your last track race?
What was my last track race?
British Champs, just before the Berlin block.
British Champs 5k. That was in end of June, like 1st of July, 2024. That's when I ran my 5k PB, 15:22. That time's going down this year. So if you want to see some race videos, see how close I can get to that 8:55 3k PB, that 15:22 5k PB. What is my 10k PB? 32:26 in the 10k. And maybe, if I'm feeling extremely deranged, I might even try 1500. I never want to do that ever again. It's horrible. Not for me. Which I think I've run like a 420 or 421. That's ridiculous. Like, that needs to go down. So why don't you click that subscribe button and come along for the fun?
And guys, we are so close to 200,000. We're literally less than 9,000 away, so
He's begging you. It's kind of embarrassing. And if you need convincing that those race videos and track workout videos are going to be worth your while to come and watch, here's a little trailer that Daniel has assembled to give you a little flavour, a little sprinkle of what could be to come. The grind.
Go, Philly!
So, great idea to come to the track on Monday. What would have been an even better idea is checking on the app to see if the track is available to use and be booked. Because it turns out it's not. This sometimes happens at Sports City when the track gets booked out. The outdoor track is not available to use all day, and the indoor track is not available for an hour and a half. So, we are gonna figure out where we're gonna go.
You're the next call to be answered. Please bear with us and we'll be with you as soon as we can.
Good morning, Street to Everyday Leisure speaking.
Hi, I was wondering if your track is available to be used today.
Is this for Macclesfield?
Yes.
So it's available up until 2 p.m. and then it's available at 4 p.m. onwards.
Let's go to Macclesfield! We're in Macclesfield. I have paid the £4.70 to use the track. This better be good. All right, step 1, choose your chosen surface. If I'm doing an easy run, then this is just the rug on my living room floor. If I'm at the track, or if I'm going for an easy run with some friends out and about, then I take my mat with me in the car. Every time I use this, I get so many questions where it's from. It's from Roll Recovery. I bought it in the US. You can buy it in the UK, I think. It does cost quite a bit for postage, but it's great. I love my Roll Recovery mat. The first thing I use, it's so windy. The first thing I use that is a tool that I couldn't live without is my foot roller. This is also from Roll Recovery. This isn't sponsored. I've paid for this. It's an orthopedic foot roller, rollrecovery.com. And I prefer this to like a golf ball or a lacrosse ball. Some people have suggested using a water bottle with some frozen water in it. That's more for plantar fasciitis, but this is just to warm the feet up. This is probably, if I could choose one of these things to bring with me, it would be this, because my feet get so stiff and this just wakes them up. You're just basically doing some self-myofascial release on your feet. Chilly. I'm cold. It's windy. Still gotta be done. It's another excuse that people come up with. Either they don't have time, or it's too cold, or the weather's too bad. Do I still do this in the pissing rain before a workout?
Yep.
In a car park, wherever I can, on literal mud. Like, I'll put my mat out and I'm doing this. No excuses. Okay, so once I'm done with that, I move on to my staple hip opener, which is 1990 hip switches. This has been pretty constant for the last 2 years, ever since I found out I've got some sticky hips and they just need loosening off all the time. And this is why this mat is so ideal, because a yoga mat's not the right shape, but this is like the perfect shape, for me anyway, to do these. So foot roller and 1990 hip switches have stayed put in every activation I've done for the last 2 years. This one, although this is the piece of kit that I have had for the longest, my dad bought me this foam roller at a cross-country race probably about 10 years ago. How often do I use this? Not often enough. However, I recently was told that I need to foam roll my glutes and my hamstrings and my hips before I run because they're a little bit tight. And this is going to be so much better than any static stretching. Dynamic stretching, foam rolling, band activations, that's the stuff that actually wakes your muscles up. We're not trying to be more flexible, we're just trying to be warm and loose enough. Ooh. So it's my left side that's the problem, and I'm mostly focusing on that, but I am going to do both, because in an ideal world, we'd be symmetrical. Dynamic rope stretches. I got this rope in 2018 when I went to Oregon. This kind of dips in and out of my warm-up, to be honest. Sometimes I'll use it. If I've only got 5 minutes before a run, I won't. I'll focus on using the mini band instead, which I'm going to use next. But with a bit of hamstring tightness recently, this is great. So the main ones I do is this like straight leg. I actually don't know what this is called. I'm going to call this like tilting in, tilting out with the foot. I'm pretty sure this is some form of neural flossing. Just feels good. Get my ankles going whilst getting a bit of a kind of posterior chain release. And then this one's really good. Dynamically flexing the hamstring, getting the knees moving. Once you get on the other side of 30, sometimes your knees need a little bit of oiling up. But if you wanted to, you can do loads of sort of lateral stuff with it, hip opening stuff. I literally bring it with me, those 2 exercises. They take 30 seconds. I use my trusty mini band. And ever since I started doing pre-run activations before every single run, this is the one guy that I can't live without. When I do forget it and have to warm up without it, it's just not as good, because band activations just get the parts of you firing and a little bit warmed up, or activated, shall we say, that like to sleep on us if we don't activate them. Glutes, hips, I'm looking at you. So we've got some straight leg kickbacks, diagonal, and I'm intentionally slowing this down to control the movement. And then we've got clamshells, and I'm making sure that I'm keeping my hips stacked, my knees in line, and I can feel it burning the pocket, as Chris says. You should feel like where your jean pocket would be. Not burning, but if you went to failure, it should be burning. We're not going to failure though, we're just activating. And to be honest, this green band is probably a little bit heavy for activations. I normally use a yellow one. I'm not trying to like gain any strength doing this. Definitely don't use a black one. Those ones are really tough. And then basically the same thing, standing up. Yes, thank you, sir. Yes, please, thank you, yes. If you could just put this bit down as well, don't roll away. Standing clamshells or open the gate. It's just glutes and hips, same thing. And if you're doing it properly, like you don't want to be kind of like twisting as you do it. You've got to try and keep your hips square and like facing one way, so that when you bring your knee slightly forward, and then it's just like a hinge as you pivot out. It's not like how far can you go? It's just as you get to the point where you start to twist, that's it. Just a little pause there and then control it back in. A little while back in the evolution, I would also have these, the crab walks, and you can also put it around your ankles, do the monster walks. I don't do those at the moment because my knee doesn't like them. Never put anything in your warm-up that's gonna aggravate something. That's not the idea. I think it's about it for activations at the moment. Sometimes I'll do some leg swings, but when I'm doing drills and strides or a workout, those come later. This is the part where I run. And when I am doing a workout, the run portion that follows activations, I'll go for like a 2 to 3 mile warm-up jog before doing my workout. And that's just super easy running. That's what really gets the blood flowing and gets you warmed up, ready to go. And then the drills and strides are then taking that one step further to get you warmed up for running fast, so that when you lash a 400 rep or maybe even a 200 at top speed, you're not going to pull something, or you're less likely to. We can't completely prevent those things from happening, but if you warm up properly, you can do a lot. Okay, jog time. Bye. As many of you will be aware, one of the main ways that YouTubers generate income is through sponsors. And unfortunately, we had a sponsor lined up for this video that dropped out at the last minute, which is a real shame because now this sponsor slot is not filled. But what we do have is something that is far cooler and far more valuable than a sponsor slot that's going to be filled in every single video, and that is our incredible community over on Patreon. So today's video is sponsored by you, the people who have asked for this video to happen because you want to see my warm-up for some reason, and the people who honestly are my biggest cheerleaders, who have created probably the most wholesome corner of the internet I've ever seen. And I recently made some changes to what Patreon looks like for me, which I want to tell you about. We now have 2 simplified tiers. So you can either join the PB Training Club for £5 a month, which gets you weekly training update videos, uncut, imperfections and all, where I give a bit of a behind the scenes look at how training is going that week, what the ups have been, what the downs have been, and the reality of it all. We upload the YouTube videos early on there, so the whole Patreon community gets to see them before they go live publicly on YouTube. We've got the PB Community Training Chat, which is basically like a live chat room where we can all chat about what we're up to at the moment, ask each other questions, ask each other for advice, or share what we're training towards at the moment, and just get to know each other a little bit better. And obviously you'll get access to all the community posts, polls I share, any discussion threads where I might be asking what video should I create next, early access to merch drops including discounts, your name goes on the end credits of every YouTube video, and you also receive my immense gratitude. And then we have the Inner Circle, which is the £10 tier, where you get all of that, plus a monthly live hangout with me, and I'm actually doing one today in kind of a Q&A style at 7:30 PM UK time, which will be a few hours after this video is released, I believe. There's the opportunity to submit questions before that live hangout, and I will occasionally share deeper race breakdowns immediately after the race in video format, or after some real key workouts. So thank you to my patrons, you know who you are, for sponsoring today's video. And if you're interested in that kind of more detailed behind the scenes content, and you want a little bit more access to the messy, the nerdy, the stuff that doesn't make it to YouTube, you can go and check it out at the link at the top of the description. Done pre-run activations. Been for our run, or our warm-up jog. This is where it gets almost exciting. We love drills, and we are drilling before these strides, not just to be fully warmed up for them, but also because practicing drills reinforces good mechanics. It improves coordination, posture, foot strike, so that when you're running faster, your body naturally moves in a more efficient way. First up is leg swings. These are for dynamic hip mobility, getting those hip flexors moving, your glutes, your hamstrings. First, I do these in a forwards-backwards motion, holding onto something to steady me, and I also do them side to side, so holding onto a fence or a tree, swinging my leg through laterally, which is what really opens up the hips, adductors, abductors, and your IT band. If you find you've got tight hips, these are great, but ease into them. Please don't force the range of motion. Then I move into some low intensity walking drills. So we've got A-walks here, which are kind of like a slow marching action, bringing up a really high knee and making sure the toes are pulled up, holding and controlling that posture before coming back down and moving to the other side. This is helping with dorsiflexion, good posture, staying tall and driving my knees. And you'll see in a minute how this is then leveled up into more intense movements that are getting me ready to run fast. Here I'm doing some hamstring sweeps, where I'm just stepping forwards with my heel down and sweeping my hands towards the toes, keeping that back leg straight to get a dynamic movement into the hamstring and the calves, but I'm not holding that stretch. That would actually be detrimental to what I'm trying to do here because I'm trying to get ready to run with power. And static stretching before you run can actually decrease that power and muscle strength because it reduces the tension in your muscles. Instead, these hamstring sweeps are activating the muscles, increasing blood flow, and improving that range of motion without forcing a prolonged stretch. Moving into A skips, which is one of my favorite drills, and this is where we just add a skipping movement into the A walk. That pronounced knee lift is there, but we're looking for quick ground contact. These are hard to nail first time, and that's because you need some rhythm and coordination whilst you're doing them. But the idea is that that's going to translate into the rhythm and coordination you need when you're running fast. What I'm reinforcing whilst I'm doing these is that I'm landing under my hips with really good posture. Next up, I'm doing some dribbles, which is a progressive drill. These are very quick steps, and at the start, I'm stepping over the height of my ankle before progressing to stepping over the height of my calf and then my knee. The intensity of this movement progresses throughout the drill, but the rhythm stays the same. So we're encouraging a really fast turnover, but light ground contact. That's activating everything below the hips and just getting me really nice and warm. Next up, I think these are called mini skips. I just really like these. They help me feel really loosened off, and I'm essentially just taking some really small, quick steps, not looking for huge height on them, but focusing on being bouncy and rhythmic. Having had some lower limb niggles over time with my calves and Achilles, this is helping to activate those, and we're starting to transition into drills that look more like running. These ones are called straight leg bounds, where I'm kind of bouncing forwards with mostly straight legs, striking the ground under my body, and really trying to propel myself forwards. That's activating and recruiting the big guys, my glutes and my hamstrings, and it's just reinforcing that hip extension and elastic power, which is what you need when you're trying to run fast. And last up, my absolute favorite drill. This is called the A exchange, which is basically an A skip where you're repeating that position before switching to the other side. So when I come up into that classic high knee A position, I repeat it on the same side before very quickly switching to the other side in the air, exchanging it to the other side and repeating. This is another very rhythmic, very coordination heavy drill that's going to help with leg turnover and a really efficient foot strike. You'll see sprinters doing these and they look much more impressive than I do. Activation's done, jog done, drills done. Last part of my warm-up before a session is strides. But because today is easy run and strides, I'm kind of doing strides twice. So this first lot is in flats and they're called in and outs. Sometimes I just do them in my trainers. And that's basically jogging the bends and striding the straights. But they're a lot more relaxed and the jogs are super slow and the strides are just about warming into some strides. They won't be as fast as the proper strides that I do in spikes. It's kind of hard to describe. I guess the in and outs, because it's continuous and the effort is lower. Probably like the strides are at 70-75%. And then when I'm doing strides in spikes, the strides are at like 90-95%. We're not all out sprinting, important. Oh, and I need to take my trapeze off. I'm such an idiot.
When was the last time you put on spikes?
Honestly, I can't remember because I didn't take them with me. I don't think I took them with me to Flagstaff. So whenever I did drills and strides in the Chicago block, I didn't wear them. Yeah, maybe for an indoor session this time last year-ish. But if not, it might not be since I ran that 5K at British Champs.
No, you've definitely put on spikes since then.
I couldn't tell you. Jakob Ingebrigtsen was here, he'd be angry.
Why?
I'm wearing socks. I hear he's a famous no sock guy and his spikes. Every last gram counts. Can't be wearing socks now. Oh, I choose the life of my skin. I'm laying the case down now that we should all be wearing socks. Stick in the comments below if you're a socks or a skins person if you're wearing spikes. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Well, how does it feel to be the fastest person in the world?
Well, it's official. I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Fastest boy.
Coach, put me in the 800 meters. I'm ready. It did feel good to run fast again. Being careful after a little grumbly hamstring last week, but it felt good. Felt good to wear spikes again. I always forget I'm wearing them after the first one. Did you see me normally fall over?
No.
I'm gonna go do a little jog now. Sadly, not a barefoot grass jog, which is what I would normally do if the grass was inviting enough, but this looks a little risky. I put my shoes on, jog for a few laps just to cool down, and that's my warm-up. That's not the warm-up I'm saying everyone should do. That is just how mine has evolved over the years, from high skips and wheelbarrow races when I was like 13, first starting out, to no activations, really just slamming my body out the door, to now just a nice little mix of what makes me feel good and ready to go. At a bare minimum, I'm doing 5 minutes of activations before I do an easy run, and that is what I would implore you to do as well. If you don't want to, that is fine. If there's something different that you do for your warm-up, please let me know what it is in the comments below. I'm always looking for new drills to test out or to add into my warm-up. And make sure you come back next week for a bit of a deep dive into what the track season might look like as I officially count down to racing on this beautiful tartan oval. And as always, guys, love the grind.